doesn't have enough money to pay for the hundreds of thousands of dollars of a wedding that I want, but he will soon.
Why would you want to do that to your man?
What do you mean, why would I want to do that to my man? That's for me. It's a celebration for me.
You think he wants to spend that?
I have my own money too.
Yeah, but do you think he wants to spend that on the wedding? No, he doesn't.
It doesn't matter.
No, he doesn't. It doesn't matter. No, he doesn't. It doesn't matter.
I've had my husband blocked on TikTok for years because, like I've said before, my activity on the internet is none of his business. But recently I was feeling kind, so I unblocked him. And at first his intrusion into my internet life started slow. It was him liking my videos. It was him sending me things. It was fine. I didn't love it, but it was fine. But recently, he's crossed the line. We were chatting this morning, and he just casually looks at me and he goes, I see you followed somebody named Girthmaster. None of his business. And I didn't know what to say, so I just got red in the face and was like, I didn't say any, I fumbled, I didn't, and it just, this is my private space, this is my private internet. He's about to get blocked again, I swear to God. I horrified. Why did he even know that? Who, it's not his business. I'm so embarrassed. So he's about to get blocked, real quick. Not Girthmaster. Love you. Wait, how do you do the youthful heart? Oh God, it doesn't matter. Anyways.
I really don't like you. Seriously.
You're signing these papers.
This is her decision to get divorced, so why should I pay for her daughter that's not mine biologically? I took care of her.
Give us 15 and we'll figure this out.
You just thrown away 7 years of being in your daughter's
You're throwing away 7 years.
You raised her.
This was your idea, not mine. This is your idea, not mine. Was it not your idea to get divorced?
We're not getting anywhere. Let's just take 15 minutes to cool off.
How you don't want to take care of Charlotte?
Yo, you being unprofessional.
How you don't want to help me take care of
You're
Charlotte?
very unprofessional.
So what am I supposed to tell Charlotte? So what am I supposed to tell her? You just walking out of her life completely.
Yes, I am.
That's fucked up.
I'm closing this chapter in my life. You want a divorce? I'm closing the chapter on you and Charlotte. I'm not taking care of either one of y'all.
Why I wanted the divorce? You never asked me why I wanted the divorce.
Okay, you got a divorce.
You don't think it's something that you did wrong?
No, I ain't do nothing wrong. That's why I'm not taking care of you and Charlotte. I ain't nothing wrong. You just walking away because you probably got a dude or something. I don't know what's going on.
If I had a dude, I wouldn't be asking you for no.
But check this out. I'm not about to take care of you. Meet somebody else. He's gonna do the same thing that I was doing. Come in there and play daddy for your daughter. Play daddy like I've been playing daddy for all these years. And then I'm not about to pay for stuff. And then she gets stuff from two.
Good job, my brother. We rocking with you.
I'm HIV positive, right? And this is just a PSA to those that are not HIV positive. Disclosure is my choice.
Disclosure is my choice.
When I disclose and how I disclose and who I disclose to is up to me. I find it so crazy how people are telling me that I need to disclose before I go on a date. That I need to disclose before I kiss somebody.
Yeah.
This is the craziest one. Before I even tell them my name. It's not happening. I don't think that it's my responsibility to tell someone that I'm HIV positive if they are treating me as if I'm not. Your health is your responsibility. Adopt the mindset of medical practitioners. Assume that everyone has something until they prove to you that they do not.
Right.
Why are you kissing a stranger or trying to kiss a stranger that you just met? Why are you trying to have intercourse with someone raw that you just met? You don't know me from a hole in a wall. Why are you trying to put your thing inside of me without any kind of protection? Why do I have to be the one to say, hey, chill out, I'm HIV positive, instead of you asking, taking the time to know me, get to know me, let's go get tested together if you want to take the next step? Why do I have to be the one protecting you from yourself? No, baby, that is not my responsibility. And I just wanted to make that clear. Okay, love you, bye.
Just a small announcement. You're pretty close to going to hell.
Why get a divorce after 25 years of marriage? The short answer is because it is not too late to be happy.
What did you say? What the did you just say?
And I finally got to a point at the beginning of the year where I decided that it wasn't too late to be happy. I still have, hopefully, many more years left, and I would like to be happy for those years.
What I'm realizing is that women are a special kind of stupid.
1 week later.
I'm just not strong. myself.
Oh, there's a big surprise. That's an incredible. I think I'm gonna have a heart attack and die from that surprise.
I don't know what to do.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell
You gonna learn today.
How self-centered are women? Well, thanks to 60 years of female supremacy, aka feminism, modern women are egomaniacally self-centered. Modern women are so self-centered, the average man cannot even comprehend just how self-centered modern women are. But not after watching this video. After watching this video, you'll understand exactly how self-centered modern women are. What's up, guys? Your boy Paradox here with another killer video. Let's get into this.
Yes! Yes!
Make it so.
So let me just break down what causes this egomania that all these modern women have. Female solipsism. An aspect of female nature that every woman has is female solipsism. In other words, the perception that everything is about how she feels about it. The world revolves around her. It's all about her. You've heard those expressions. That's where it comes from. From a woman's point of view, it really is all about her, specifically all about how she feels. Women are all about how they feel, and that is how they view the world, which in itself is self-centered. Women are just self-centered and selfish relative to men. Obviously, all human beings are selfish to a degree, but women are selfish to a degree that most men don't realize how selfish they are, because we literally can't be that selfish, because we perceive the world in terms of objects in the world, reality, our experiences, our perceptions, which can be limited and faulty and incorrect. We use logic and reason, and we recognize we're not special, and there's a big bad reality out there that doesn't give a fuck about us. So we cannot get our head around that level of solipsism, where no, the universe itself is contingent upon how I feel about it. That is how self-centered women are. And I mean that's not hyperbole. As far as a woman's concerned, the universe itself, the nature of reality, is contingent on how she feels about it. That is solipsism. That's the true definition of solipsism. All women are solipsistic. All women are that self-centered. So that they're halfway towards being egomaniacs anyway. But when you add emotional reasoning, which is thinking with your feelings, and what it means to think with your feelings is this. When you hear something, a statement or some reality, you're struck with some perception of reality, if it makes you feel bad, you automatically decide, with no actual thought or critical thinking or reason or logic, you automatically decide, because it's made you feel bad, that thing must be wrong or it must be false. If that perception of reality makes you feel good, then you automatically decide, no reason, no logic, no facts, no evidence, nothing like that. You automatically decide that it is right and true. That's what it means to think with your feelings. That's what emotional reasoning is. And again, all women reason with their emotions. As I said, they're solipsistic. Everything is about their feelings. And when you live that way, again, it just feeds into egomania, because if you don't like something, it's false or wrong. So anything that your ego, that hurts your ego, offends your ego, triggers your ego, is wrong and false. So you deny it. You just deny. That's why women just deny blatant truths. Well, I'm not sure if men are stronger than women. I'm not sure if younger men are more attracted to younger females. You know, they're just all this cope and madness comes from the fact that if they don't like to hear a fact, a truth, a reality, they just say that's not true, that they just deny it because of emotional reasoning. And then the third of the unholy trinity of aspects of female nature that creates egomania in modern women is natural-born victimhood. I'll show you a clip which explains it.
A study was done with infants where an obstacle was placed between the infant and the mother. The boy infants would try to knock over, climb, or move the obstacle, and the female infants would cry. So the boys would try to problem solve, and the girls would just vocalize their distress. We see it in infants, where boys are problem solvers and girls just want to hear, they want to be heard that they are not okay right now. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. If you're on Patreon listening to this, you've heard us say over and over again that if you go to your man with anything, his first instinct is going to try to problem solve. So if you are just venting, it needs to be stated, hey babe, I'm just venting. I'm fucking going through it and I need you to have a bitch sess with me. Not meaning that he's gonna sit there and bitch with you, but you can sit there and just bitch all you want and he will listen. And I don't know if you want him to brush your hair or something, say that. But boys are born with the instinct to problem solve to get to where they want to go.
So you see, little girls and women are not built to solve problems. They're not problem solvers. They are victims. When there is an obstacle between them and their mum, they can't figure a way around. They just sit there and cry. They're just victims of circumstance, natural-born victims. You may have noticed how much AI slop has infected the manosphere. As you can probably tell by all the breathing and the mistakes, I'm a real human being called Paradox that is recording these videos spontaneously off the top of my head. If you support real human beings instead of scripted AI, please like this video and comment on this video and share this video. Because the more of my viewers that do that, the better my chances of competing in the algorithm with the AI slop channels that can just use ChatGPT to produce 3 scripts a day and 3 videos a day and just flood the manosphere with churned out, hollow, superficial content to make money. I'm not doing this to make money. I'm doing this to help men like you. So if you appreciate someone who actually cares about men, putting in time and effort to help you without making any money, please help me compete with the AI slop in the algorithm. Thank you, brother. Natural-born victims. Irresponsible. To be responsible means able to respond. And another way to say I'm able to respond is I'm a problem solver. When life throws me lemons, I can make lemonade. When life throws me adversity and challenges and problems, I can overcome them. That's what it means to be responsible, able to respond, a problem solver. That's what men are. Women are not that. They are natural-born victims. Their survival strategy is to secure a man through deceit, manipulation, and sex to solve her problems for her, the damsel in distress. Evolution basically didn't have time to make women anything other than good mothers, good child birthers and child rearers. And everything about a woman, her hormones, her brain, her body, is built for giving birth to children and raising children. Men had to be adapted primarily to hunt. And all of our problem solving and ingenuity, making tools and strategic hunt stuff, that made us problem solvers. It made us responsible. Because if you can't catch food, you die. Whereas women, all they had to do was look after a baby. And they became hypersensitive to negative emotions so that they could know what was going on with a baby that can't communicate. That's why women are so emotional. That's why women are solipsistic, because they had to focus purely on their own well-being, because if they died, their baby died. That's why they're solipsistic. All the things I say about women, it's not their fault. They're not evil. It's just their nature, because they have to be child birthers and rearers.
I think that women's nervous systems are not adapted to women. I think women's nervous systems are adapted to the mother-infant dyad. And because you are not the same creature when you have an infant, not at all. You're way more vulnerable. And it's partly because you have to express the vulnerability of the infant and you also have to care for it, right? So you think about an infant, especially under 9 months. So let's say, how are you going to be wired up if you're going to optimally care for an infant under 9 months? And I'm saying under 9 months because women generally do the bulk of childcare for infants who are under 9 months old. And part of the reason for that, there's a whole host of reasons, but part of the reasons for that, obviously, is that they breastfeed. But imagine what you need to be wired up biologically in order to care for an infant. First of all, they're very demanding, right? Because they're completely helpless, and they're demanding 24 hours a day. It's quite an emotional load. And an infant under 9 months is never wrong. Right? What you do to an infant under 9 months is when they're in distress, you always respond. You never tell the infant, get your act together and stop whining, right? Which you can do, say, to a child that's 18 months old. You can start having that sort of conversation. But under 9 months, it's like nothing is the infant's fault. It's surrounded in an extraordinarily threatening world, and you have to be responsive to what it needs, regardless of what you want, and you have to be very sensitive to the threats that emerge in the environment. And so I think the price that women pay for that ability to have an intimate relationship with infants in the very earliest stages of development is that their nervous systems are actually wired so that they can perform that role optimally. And the disadvantage to that is that having a temperament like that doesn't work that well when you're dealing with adult men.
But we in the West, in the modern world, because of feminism, we just ignored that reality and said, oh, women can do anything men can do, women should vote, women should go into positions of power. No, they shouldn't. No, they shouldn't. Women are not built for responsibility. Women are not built for problem solving. That's why women are allergic to accountability, because accountability is just a form of responsibility. They were never meant to be responsible. That's why they can't take accountability. And that's why when you treat a woman as though she were a man, you get this childlike behavior where they're never wrong, they never say sorry, they don't take accountability, because they're not meant to. They really are children in adults' bodies, because what differentiates the mind of a child or the behavior of a child and the behavior of an adult is responsibility. That's where the phrase responsible adult. You don't expect a 4-year-old to be responsible. And in our society, we expect women to be responsible, but we don't hold them accountable when they're not, because of feminism and the gynocracy and female supremacy. Basically, they don't have to face consequences for not being responsible, for being unaccountable, irresponsible children in adults' bodies. They say, and we say, they're powerful and can do anything men can do, and which they can't, but they're told that they're lifted up onto a pedestal because it hurts their feelings to tell them the truth, that they have a role. You could say their role is the most important role in the human species. It is the most important role. Bringing up children is the most important role. So, I absolutely am okay with venerating women who are good mothers. But women who think that they are equal to men in terms of strength, problem solving, creativity, resilience, mental toughness, business acumen, I mean, the list goes on. That's absurd. It's absolutely ridiculous. I know in our world, what I've just said might even get me a ban, might get me cancelled, but it's just the obvious truth. But we live in a world, a female supremacist society, where you can't speak the obvious truth because it hurts women's feelings, proving the point I'm making, that they're children in adults' bodies, emotional infants, mental infants, who think with their feelings, emotional reasoners, who are so self-absorbed and self-centered that if you hurt their feelings, you're a bad person and should be cancelled, and often sent to prison, false accusations. Women are quite happy to divorce rape a man, send him to prison for something he didn't do because of their hurt feelings. And the egomania can be summed up in another phrase that is a truth of female nature. Women are only loyal to their feelings. And when you're only loyal to your feelings, morals cannot apply. Women are not moral. Women don't operate on morals. To operate on morals, you must use reason and logic and self-reflection and introspection to see if what you're doing is ethical or not. To put yourself in someone else's shoes. Do unto others as you would have it done unto you. That's all required to be a moral being. But if your decisions are based purely on how you feel, you're not a moral being. And that's the main reason women shouldn't have the right to vote, and women should not be in any positions of leadership or power, because leaders have to be responsible. They are responsible for the lives of others. And if a leader acts like a toddler, I feel bad, so it is wrong and bad. If a leader acts like a toddler, we're fucked. And that's exactly what you see. That's exactly what you see. Female politicians, female business leaders, female teachers, female university lecturers, and millions of modern women on TikTok. They are children. Mentally and emotionally, they are children because they're irresponsible and they think with their feelings. And they think the world revolves around them. They think they're special. That's a child. That is the definition of a 4-year-old. A 4-year-old is solipsistic. They feel everything is about them and everything is about how they feel about it. A 4-year-old is an emotional reasoner. If it feels bad, it's wrong and it's false. If it feels good, it's right and it's true. And a 4-year-old is a irresponsible victim. They're not a problem. Well, actually, a 4-year-old girl, a 4-year-old boy, a 1-year-old boy is more responsible than a grown-ass woman, as that experiment shows. I always go into one. I was going to show you some other clips, but I'm not even going to bother because I go into these massive rants. But I live in a world where the reality of the differences between men and women is so obvious, and the consequences of ignoring that reality are so obvious. As the saying goes, you are free to ignore reality, but you are not free to ignore the consequences of ignoring reality. And that's what we've done as a society, thanks to the cultural Marxists who are behind feminism. We are denying and ignoring the reality that women are not meant to be leaders or in positions of power or to hold the lives of people in their hands. They're too self-centered and selfish. They're too emotional. They're too all about their feelings, and they're too irresponsible. And the people who created feminism and propagandized it and funded it knew that. They knew that the easiest way to collapse Western civilization was to empower women, tell them that men, their protectors and providers, were their enemies and were oppressive, and there was this thing called the patriarchy, and that they were the poor victims of men and the patriarchy, and actually they should have been in positions of power and leadership, and men have been holding them back from it. Tell women that, their natural born victimhood, their natural solipsism. Yeah, that's right. I am special. I am the best. I am better than a man. The little child in them, the little spoilt child will eat that up. The emotional reasoner will eat that up. And that's what's happened. Now you've got these egomaniacs. All modern women are egomaniacs. They are obsessively self-centered. They only ever think about themselves and how they feel. They're all egomaniacs. I mean, it's obvious. And that is the reason that men are walking away. I mean, who wants to provide and protect, love, care and cherish and spend their life with an egomaniac? Only a simp. Only a simp. And as we know, Women are not attracted to simps. They will use them like a parasite uses a host, but they're not actually attracted to them. So some women will have partners, they will get married to simps because they want the resources and they need the resources. But none of these women are going to have healthy, mutually beneficial relationships with men that they're attracted to, because the type of men they're attracted to are not attracted to egomaniacs. So, you know, the famous study says something like 45% of women are going to be single and childless at 40. That is such a massive underestimation, I can't tell you. I would say 90% of modern women are going to be cat ladies, and that might be a low estimate. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.
God, we should walk away from this.
Hold on. If I were to do this, if I even could do it, I'd need a guarantee. How do I know you can deliver?
You don't. But I can. So, do you want to take a leap of faith? Or become an old man filled with regret, waiting to die alone?